Hey everyone, it's Melinda from Women Who Rock, and we have a very special guest today, Britt Lightning, who is the musical director at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and of course, does a lot more. Also, a guitarist in the band Vixen. Britt, thanks so much for chatting with us today.
Yay, thanks for having me on. It's great to be with you here.
Yeah, so we have Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp Women Only coming up in LA in December. Let's talk a little bit about why Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp started, where the vision came from, and then part two of that will be why Women Only turned into Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp.
Yes, well, David Fishoff is the founder of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, and he was a sports agent before he was involved in music. And then he shared an office with some music agents and would see the gold records and stuff on the walls and be like, "Hey, I don't have those. I want some of those." So he started managing bands and he got really into music. And although he can't play a note, he is super passionate about music and just knows what sounds good. And he managed Ringo and helped form Ringo's All-Star Band,
Wow.
managed Joe Walsh, managed just so many great artists, helped bring back the Monkees on their Happy Together tour. And then he just realized how much fun rock stars have being on the road. And it's just like, it's almost like you get back to being a kid again. You have all this energy and you don't have to think about all the adult tasks you do
Right.
because you have somebody telling you where to go, what time dinner is, where to get on the bus, when time to get up. And you can just be free and focus on music. And he wanted to give that feeling to the general public and just music enthusiasts and show them what it could be like and that they could do it too. So in 1996, he founded the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. And so it's been going on for quite some years now. And I joined up with the camp in 2019, and I was a counselor at the camp because basically, for those of you that don't know, Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp is basically a 4-day event now, a Thursday through a Sunday, where you get together and join a band mentored by a rock star counselor. I'm a rock star counselor. Some of the other ones are Vinny Appice from Black Sabbath is a staple counselor, Tony Franklin from The Firm, Teddy Zigzag, who played with Guns N' Roses. We just have a great array of counselors. And throughout the 4 days, you do jam rooms, band rehearsals, master classes, Q&A sessions, and then we bring in these special guest rock stars, and they're themed per camp. Like we had a high voltage camp with Chris Slade from AC/DC, Nancy Wilson of Heart, and the DeLeo brothers last year. We've had Kiss come in. We've had Roger Daltrey from The Who,
Wow.
Slash, so many people, all of your favorite rock stars. And then you get to jam with your rock and roll hero. So you get to play a Kiss song with the members of Kiss, for example, play a Who song with Roger Daltrey of The Who. And then at the end of the 4 days, it culminates with 2 live performances at famous venues. So a lot of times we do the Whiskey A Go-Go, the Troubadour, the Viper Room, places like that. And you get to be a rock star for 4 days and just forget about any worries, leave it all behind and get back to our roots and get back to playing music and remember why we enjoyed that in the first place. And I think a lot of the headlining rock stars come back time after time because it's refreshing and it
Yeah.
does. It reminds them of where they came from and why they started. Because once you get in this business, just like any business, you get wrapped up so much in the money or this or that and all these arguments and you know sometimes you start a band as all friends and then
Right.
you forget all about the friendship because all this other stuff gets in the way. And that's not why we all started playing music.
This really is a dream come true. I mean, for a musician out there to be able to fly out to LA and spend 4 days with these massive rock gods and goddesses, it's just a dream come true. So tell me, why is it so special to you when you see, somebody that, and the other thing that I really like about this, it really is all levels of musicianship, correct?
Yes, all levels and
Yeah.
all ages. So we have people that may have just picked up a guitar during COVID and have never played outside their living room. Maybe they have never played with any other people. So not even jammed with anybody, let alone be in a band or played on a stage before. And
Yeah.
then we have people that play in tribute bands that are playing out every weekend and are seasoned musicians. So we have the full spectrum. And at the last camp, we had a 10-year-old and then we had a 75-year-old. So, I mean, everybody is welcome.
Yeah, especially for the young musicians. I mean, how does that feel when you see somebody connect with one of their idols and get to share that musical experience? I mean, you and David, you're helping to make these dreams happen. So how does that feel to you?
It feels completely amazing. Each camp is magical, and that's why I just am addicted to it and wanted to get even more involved. And now I'm the musical director at the camp. But I work with David day in, day out. We meet on Zoom for wherever we may be in the world and just talk about new camp ideas and ways to make it better. And it never feels like work because, yeah, you're making dreams come true, and it feels so good.
It's so incredible. So, new camp ideas.
Sure.
One of those new camp ideas is rock camp, involving to rock and roll fantasy camp, women only. And I am so excited to be flying out to LA to be part of this in December. But where did this next progression of having something more women focused come from?
I've been doing the camps since 2019, and I realized that at most camps, there were maybe like 5 women out of 75.
Wow.
And why is this? Even when we'd have female rock stars, like female idols like Nancy Wilson, of course, men and women both like her, but I just thought maybe more women would come. So I said to David one day, I think we need a women's only. And he was like, what do you mean? How would you sell out a camp of women only if you only get 5 at each camp? And I said, that's why they'll come, because there are
Yeah.
going to be no men, and it is going to be just focused on the music and on women. And it'll be all women artists, crew, counselors, and we'll all just like uplift each other and help each other through this journey. And it is a journey because it's still a male dominated field. I mean, it's definitely better than it was for sure, but it still can be intimidating. And I think there was an intimidation factor. This is going to be our 3rd annual one this year. And the first camp, we asked Melissa Etheridge, Nancy Wilson, Kathy Valentine, and Orianthi, and they all loved the concept of women only.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're in. So that's when I knew that it was possible. And as soon as we announced it, it was very successful. And the next camp we did last year, we did it in Nashville. We wanted to kind of merge a little country and rock together. So we had Winona Judd, who was
Oh,
amazing, and we had
amazing.
Lizzie Hale,
Yeah.
another amazing artist. We had Vicki Peterson of the Bangles and some other amazing counselors, and it was also phenomenal. And I have to say, like the Q&A with Winona and Lizzie that year, it was just so, you could talk about topics that you might not want to talk about in front of men, just because women can relate to each other's journeys in a different way that, men could. And it got emotional. Like everybody was in tears. It was really like heartfelt and honest and authentic and very special. And it really changed a lot of people's lives. And in fact, one girl, the mother had sent her to camp because she was feeling a little suicidal, like just she had nobody to relate to. And she knew that music was her escape. She came to the camp and really pulled her out of it. She made a whole amazing network of friends, felt like she wasn't alone. And actually, that mother has started the Rock Fantasy Dreams Foundation, which is a charity to support underprivileged women to come to the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp for Women. So
That's the power of music and such amazing
yeah.
work. So, congratulations. And let's talk about the lineup this year. Obviously, you're doing something right because Nancy Wilson from Heart is returning, but share with everybody who the other incredible lineup of women are this year.
Yes, we have Sheila E., who
Yeah.
I think she's done a camp a long time ago, way before I was involved. I've never met her, so I'm thrilled. Have you met her before?
Absolutely. So she has been a headliner at our Women Who Rock benefit concerts and just a dear friend, a dear advocate. We love Sheila. So she's going to be a great mentor to have on board.
Yes, I'm so excited. And we've got Lita Ford, who has been to camp before and is also one of my favorites, another trailblazer in the industry, and
Yeah.
Nita Strauss, who is a little bit of the younger generation, but really, I think, helped to put women back on the map in heavy metal by Alice Cooper taking her on the road, and an
Mhm.
amazing player. So we have Rhonda Smith, who played with Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
And our counselors are great. We have Eva Gardner from Pink. She's played bass for Pink for many years now. We have Jenny V from the Eagles of Death Metal. We have Roxy Petrucci from Vixen, the band I play with, who's never done a camp before. So I'm really excited to have her there. And Julia, that also plays in Vixen, and more. It's a great lineup. And in addition to all the great artists, we are doing an amazing panel. And the panel is something that we haven't done at any other camps other than the women's only. I started it in 2022. And I need to implement that in the other camps because it's just such a cool addition. We are thrilled that you're going to be one of the guest speakers. And we're just thrilled also that we're going to have the opening night party at the Gibson showroom, which you're going to be at. And your merch will be there, which is featured on the Gibson website, which is very cool. And that all goes towards your charity cause, which I don't know if for our listeners at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about that and how it started.
I would love to. I'm just so honored to be involved with this. So thank you for bringing me and Women Who Rock into the mix with all of this, because of course, supporting women in music is what we're all about. When I started Women Who Rock, it was really twofold. It was number one, to help end the gender disparity that women still face in the music industry. So through our events, feature amazing women in music, which we've done. As I've mentioned, we've worked with Sheila E., we've worked with Ann Wilson of Heart, Melissa Etheridge, Orianthe, but also to use through the power of music to help end the other disparity that we see, and that's in women's health research. So women's health research is still grossly understudied and underfunded. We only get 11% of the NIH's budget, and we were not even included in any type of medical research until 1993. So as you can imagine, there are just so many areas, fields, conditions that have no research. And that's what we're really trying to help through our benefit concerts and a lot of campaigns. And we also donate a portion of the apparel sales back to women's health research. We're partnered with McGee Women's Research Institute, which is our nation's first and largest research institute dedicated solely to women's health. So a really important cause, because if we're not healthy, we're not going on the road, we're not creating music. And a lot of times people forget that women's health doesn't just affect women, it affects everybody. So we need to keep our women healthy. And yeah, I'm very excited to speak on this panel and be part of this. I think that what you said, you're really kind of breaking down some of the barriers and some of the intimidation and making such a safe space. So really excited to experience this in LA. If anybody is listening right now and they want to get tickets, tell everybody, are there still spaces left? How can they sign up?
Yes, there is still space available, rockcamp.com. And you'll see that camp there again. It's December 5 through 8 in Los Angeles. And, we recently redid our website. And I also want to mention a cool new feature. When you sign up, the booking page has a built-in kind of GoFundMe type feature. There's a page for contributions. We realized that some of the last camps, some of the younger teenagers and stuff signing up had started a GoFundMe to help get them to camp. And so we have that feature built in now. So you can share the link to friends, family, and just post it out there, and people can help contribute to your experience at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. So that's neat.
That's fantastic. I want to focus a little bit now on your career as a guitarist. Tell us, what types of challenges, if any, have you faced being, a strong guitarist in rock music?
Yeah, well, I mean, starting out, I was just told like, you can't really do this. It's not like, girls don't really do this. From the very first moment that I wanted to join this guitar club in high school, like I could tell that I was the only girl that walked in and they didn't want me in there. The boys did not want me in there. But I really do feel like that helped me. I do think in life, sometimes you can't understand it at the time, but some of the challenges that you face do help make you stronger because you learn how to grow and work around them. So I think any negative things that have happened to me for being a woman in a male-dominated industry have helped fuel my fire and helped me to work hard and realize that I really wanted to be as good as I could be to prove myself, and not just for other people, but for myself, to really feel like I can do this. I can do anything I want. Luckily, I was raised by two amazing parents that always told me I could do whatever I want. They didn't want me to be in the music industry, though. I don't think they ever thought that was actually a reality, but they always
Right.
they're always like, so when are you gonna, what do you
Get a
really
real
want to do?
job, right?
Yeah, that was always the thing. But at least I knew that they instilled in me the value that I could do anything I wanted to if I worked hard at it. And so not everybody has the luxury of growing up with somebody telling them that. So that's another place where rock camp comes into play. And especially when you hear it from your idols.
Yeah.
If Nancy Wilson says that was great, that I had fun jamming with you, you sounded amazing, you're like, it can change your whole world. Your whole world shakes. And it's like, she thinks I can do it. She proved I can do this. Like, who's anybody else to tell me I can't? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's special. And one other thing, just to bring back to rock camp one more time real quick, is just the camaraderie and the networking that you get. I think it was one of the biggest takeaways, almost more so than jamming with and meeting your musical heroes, because you spend 4 days with all these people that share the similar passion and drive, and from all different backgrounds, from all over the world, and all different ages and playing levels, as we mentioned. But you just see the common denominator of passion for music and the love for that, and how it brings people together, and you become like family at the end of the 4 days.
That's fantastic. Tell me, who are some of your favorite women who rock?
Okay, well, definitely Nancy Wilson is one of the highest, and Lita. Honestly, everybody that I've mentioned that we've had at the women's camps for sure are on the list. I also love Gosh, Stevie Nicks is one of my all-time favorites. Joan Jett. I love for new emerging young talent, Grace Bowers. What a great player. She
Yeah,
actually came by our women's rock camp in Nashville that we had last year. And
nice.
I've just been watching her rise and rise higher and higher. And that's
She's on
really
fire
inspiring.
right now. We interviewed
On
her years
fire.
ago, and like you said, it's just so amazing to watch her star just take off. She's
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, amazing. So I love that. Let's see. I love Grace Potter. Speaking of Graces,
yeah.
I've asked Grace to do camp. She hasn't done it yet. And my real number one guitar player female that I haven't had that I would love to get is Bonnie Raitt.
Oh,
I think she's
yeah,
just phenomenal.
great.
So putting that out there in the
There you
universe.
go.
Bonnie, if you hear this, we'd love to
Fantastic.
have you.
Tell us what's next for Rock Camp, for Vixen.
Yeah, so we've got our last show this weekend before we take a break for the holidays, and our lead singer Rosa goes off to perform in the West Coast version of Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which is an amazing show if you haven't seen it. But we're working on some new music, which I'm very excited about. I'm working on some side project, new music recording as well. So lots of studio time this winter, which is going to be great.
Yeah.
And then with Rock Camp, in addition to the women's Rock Camp, which is our next one on the books, we have a Green Day Rock Camp with Mike Dirnt from Green Day.
Wow.
Kiki Wong, another rising female guitar player who is now playing for Smashing Pumpkins, and Stephen Perkins of Jane's Addiction. So we've got that camp coming up in LA in January. And then we've got 2 weekends of, we're calling it the Masters of Rock Tour with Stuart Copeland of the Police, Robbie Krieger of the Doors, Daryl Jones of the Rolling Stones, and Skunk Baxter, formerly of Steely Dan and the Doobie Brothers. So that's going to be amazing. And we've got more in the works. I'm planning one for March. I'm planning a songwriting camp. We did our first songwriting camp back in 2022, and it was so good. And Desmond Child curated that and was the big
Wow.
special guest and gave feedback to everybody on their songs and helped critique the songs and make them better. So that was amazing. We're having a new special guest for this one here that I'm so excited to announce hopefully soon.
Yeah.
And so always busy, always traveling, flying around and working on as much music as possible. And yeah, I just actually did a great charity event last weekend for Women Helping Women. I don't know if you're familiar with that charity. It was in Ohio.
Okay.
A friend of mine owns a bar. I'll just give a shout out to her, Karis Christopher. If you're in the Cincinnati area, a female-owned bar with great live
Nice.
music. It's a great community, and she always does a big fundraiser every year for Women Helping Women, which supports people in domestic relationships. So for a
Great
good
work.
cause. Yeah.
Great work. Well, Britt, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with us about all things rock and roll fantasy camp and Vixen. And I can't wait to see you and everybody out in Los Angeles, December 5th through 8th at Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, women only. Check it out. And Britt, I'll be seeing you on the West Coast shortly.
I can't wait. Thank you so much for being involved in this with us.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.